Assemblyman Chitterelli, I'll start with you. All three of you basically agree that parents and local school boards, not the state, ought to make key decisions regarding curriculum. All of you back a voucher system that would allow parents to send their kids to a different school. What's your understanding of how much that would cost, and how will you pay for that?
How much, I'm sorry, David, what would cost?
How much would the voucher system cost?
David, we spend $15 billion on education. I think that's more on a cost per pupil basis than any other state in the country. Income tax is dedicated to state school aid. And you've heard me say before that in some districts we're spending $37,000 per student, despite the fact that there are subpar outcomes in those districts. So here in New Jersey under Phil Murphy, we reward failure and we punish success. We see the cuts in Toms River, we see it in Jackson, we see it across the state. So I think we need a more equitable distribution of state aid, and I think that we need to have every district within a reasonable range of somewhere between $13,000 and $18,000 per pupil. Why the range? Well, things are a little less expensive maybe in Salem than they are in Bergen County. But we got to get back to investing that money the right way, and the way that we do that is by emphasizing critical life skills and providing vocational training, all with an age-appropriate curriculum. We are graduating illiterate children, and so we got to get back to the basics with our public school curriculum.
Bill Spadea.
So it will require action, and the action the governor can take is through executive order and the executive powers, and the first thing we need to do is take those 4,000 kids in Newark. I mean, we can call it subpar. The real reason, it's a disaster. 9 out of 10 kids in Newark can't function at grade level, can't perform at grade level. 9 out of 10 can't do math at grade level. That's a disaster for those 28,000 kids. The way we lower our costs is we need school choice. But to your point, David, just one tweak. I think a straight voucher system where people can trade different public schools is not going to work here. We need parental choice in education where your money follows the student, but that means we empower homeschoolers, micro schools, charter schools, parochial schools, religious institutions. We need to allow parents to make that choice and follow their kids. And what that will do, if you look at the cost, your average parochial school about $8,000, your average charter school $13,000, average public about $23,000, and the number keeps going up. Once we get school choice, you're going to lower the amount that we're going to need to spend on education.
Stop time. Over John Bramnick.
So I have visited the charter schools, magnificent, well run. So if you're going to take money and put it into the voucher program, it's going to come out of the public school education budget. So it's basically transferring money from one pool to the other. So I don't see a significant increase in spending in the education budget, but absolutely promoting these schools that have been incredibly successful. Many of the urban centers really, really support those schools, and I'd be a big supporter of just transferring the money when you have less students in one school and more students in a charter school.
Okay, do a follow-up. I'm going to start. Let me start with Mr. Spadea, and I'll go right down the line. Students under your proposals can change schools under a voucher system. Teachers can't easily transfer their tenure to another school if they decide that they wanted to move, a good teacher wanting to go to a different school system. If a teacher disagrees with the philosophy of a school system and they'd like to move to a different district, should their tenure be portable?
It's a good question. I would say it would depend. So first of all, we're going to eliminate 5756, which has put the schools in between parents and kids. There's going to be a certain limit to where a teacher can object. We're not going to tolerate librarians or teachers keeping the welfare of a child away from parents. We're not going to tolerate teachers or administrators or librarians from pushing what is pornography in our school libraries. All of that's going to be gone. I would have no issue, however, once we fix the overall problem of a teacher transferring to another school and keeping their tenure. Well, look, our teachers are putting $100 out of their pockets every week for school supplies. We've got a broken system that has put a burden on teachers that don't want to co-parent, they just want to teach. We need to change how we deliver education, and that starts with empowering our teachers.
Jack Chitterelli, you're next.
David, where a school system is failing, students have to have a choice, and the choice is charter schools and a voucher program, very much like we see in Florida. We have to have that where a school system is failing. As for the teachers, I mean, right now across the state of New Jersey, we have a teacher shortage. So I don't see there being much limited opportunity for teachers to move to a different district if they want to. Every superintendent I speak to across the state, there's a shortage of teachers. And I think it has a lot to do with the fact that we've made the profession a whole lot less enjoyable for a lot of people because of what we're teaching in our schools and the pressures there are with regard to the public school curriculum. You know, I've spoken to young teachers that say, I went to school to teach math. Can I just teach math, please? So I don't know how much limiting there is with regard to teachers moving because of the teacher shortage that we have right now.
As a proud graduate of Plainfield High School and the Plainfield public system, I support transferring tenure. If you earn tenure, I don't think it makes any difference what school you're at. I taught for 4 years. When you stand up in front of a class and you use all of that energy, it is a very difficult job, and we're having a tough time getting teachers. We need to pay teachers. These teachers are the ones who are talking to our children. I'm a big supporter of teachers, and it's a really tough job. So let's help those teachers. It means tenure transfer. It means more money. We must support our teachers. And let them teach, too. Stop all the mandates from Trenton. Let them teach. And if they're doing a good job, leave them alone.
David Apollo.
So
Next question.
we are in this cathedral of a school, the state-of-the-art Essex County Donald Payne School of Technology, 7 years old, paid for by the state. Mr. Spady, I'll start with you. How do we make it so that all students in New Jersey could go to a school of this caliber?
Well, first of all, we have to focus on education and not the school buildings. This is a beautiful building, and I wonder how much was spent on one of the nicest parking garages that I've seen, nicer than most colleges. I'm not so sure we are spending the money in the right way. Actually, I'll say that I am sure. We ought to be paying our teachers more and empowering them to educate math and reading and history, get rid of the wokeism. We're going to end critical race theory. We're going to end DEI. We're going to end all of that in our schools, and I'm going to do it by firing the 8 members of the State Board of Education who are in an expired term right now, replace them with Board of Ed members who are pro-parental rights, pro-student, pro-education.
We're going to Jack Chitterelli next.
David, as a father of 4, one of which went into the trades, I will tell you we need more vocational training opportunities and we need more emphasis on the trades. Not all kids want or need to go to college. So I would hope that every county would commit itself to providing facilities such as this one, but also promoting it so that children know they have an option once they get to high school. In Europe, the model is you sit down with the student, the family, the guidance counselors do near the end of 8th grade and find out what the goal is for that particular student. And if they know then and there they're not going to be going to college, they're on a vocational track all through high school. And I tease superintendents and school principals all the time. Just once I want to show up to a high school graduation and there's 2 valedictorians. The one that's going to the Ivy League tomorrow, but the one that's also starting as a $50,000 electrician. Why don't we celebrate that kid? We ought to. And the great thing about going to the trades, you can own the business one day. So we need this kind of approach in our educational system, and we will under Governor Chitterelli.
I think the question was, how did this come about? Joe D. Joe D. Joe D., as an Essex County leader, has been able to lobby state government, and he's done a good job. You know, part of the job of the local representative and the county executive is to fight for their district. This guy fights hard. That's how it happened. And that's why you have to understand that if you're going to do things statewide, that you have to work with everybody. I'll tell you something. I'll use Joe D. as a helpful advocate for these kind of centers all over the state. You don't just use Republican talking points. You use things that work. And if this works here and it's really a successful school, hey, Joe D's a guy I'm talking to.
Follow up, David.
Thank you. I'll stick with you, Senator Bramnick. So,
Thank you.
Lots of politicians on both sides of the aisle, especially when they're on the campaign trail, they say that Jersey's got the best schools in America. Do you agree or disagree?
Oh, I agree. I think if we look at test scores around the country, and if we look at the facilities in hopefully most of our towns, I think we have some of the best teachers. We obviously have some great students, and we have a lot of successful stories out of our public schools. And I think there are many people who move to New Jersey, and they move to New Jersey because they think it's a great place for education. And I think that the schools that are doing well, the competition to live in that community is really strong. We just need to spread the wealth. We need to make every school in this state a school that breeds success.
Jack Chiarelli, then.
David, I really wish we would stop saying that. We've got some phenomenal pockets of success throughout New Jersey, but if you take out the top 10%, the high-performing school districts would skew the results. We're not doing well at all. In fact, on the recent national report card, we slipped from 2 to 12. I think a lot of it has to do with the learning loss that took place over the course of the pandemic, 2 years worth. We haven't seen summer enrichment programs, we haven't seen after-school programs, and we haven't seen something I've called for that Louisiana did. While we slipped from 2 to 12 on the national report card, Louisiana went from 48 to 32 with a high impact curriculum, meaning if any child is behind grade level in reading, writing, math, that's all that student concentrates on for the next 1, 2, or 3 market periods to get them up to speed, because the data is clear. If you don't do that by 8th grade, that child will be unemployed the rest of their lives.
We've got the most expensive schools in the country, that's for sure. That's number one. And number two, unfortunately, if we had the best schools, maybe it wouldn't, A, cost as much as it's costing, and we wouldn't have a teacher shortage. The challenge is we've got a school system that focuses on pronouns and propaganda instead of math and reading and history. So we need to change the way the curriculum is written and delivered to our students. But look, I am a proud graduate of Cherry Hill High School East. I'm a South Jersey guy originally. Jody and I moved to Princeton. One reason was the schools were so good. Sadly, we have now seen not just the left-wing wokeism propaganda infiltrate our schools, but we've seen a removal of authority where police officers are no longer able to stop a kid who's drinking or using drugs and report them to the parents. So we've got a comprehensive problem. I don't think we should rate our schools on test scores. We ought to rate our schools on the number of kids when they graduate, how many went to college, how many got a job, how many went into the military. If we start rating them differently, we can get back to number one.